Hi everybody, it's Cindy, the Scrapologist on Etsy. I'm here today to show you all of the goodies in my February junk journal kit that I'm getting ready to release. I'm very excited. This kit will be available soon in my Etsy shop, the Scrapologist on Etsy. I'm just waiting for one more piece to arrive and then I'll be able to go ahead and list it. I'll only have 20 of these available. They're very unique. Every item in the kit was either hand-picked or made by me. These are not items that were just in my stash that I'm just trying to sell to you. My husband and I actually have a 150-year-old colonial that we're trying to restore, and we spend a lot of time at estate sales, antique shops, junkyards, you name it. And a lot of these items actually came from our little treasure hunts. I think you'll really enjoy them. The kit has a real vintage feel to it. And the kit includes everything you will need to make one complete junk journal, including the cover, except for I don't include the thread to sew your signatures. That's something that you will be responsible for. But everything else is in here. There's enough to make 3 signatures of at least 8 pages each, depending on how you put them together. So let's open one up. This is the paper pack, and first we have just a little bit of sewing pattern paper, some tissue paper, just some miscellaneous things, a little bit of patterned paper. This is, oh by the way, I did take everything, cut it down to 8.5 by 11 and then fold it in half. So most of the sheets in here, this will make a book that is 5.5 by 8.5. Or you can cut it down to make a smaller book if that's what you prefer. This is from an old magazine called Successful Farming. This is over 100 years old. This is from 1912. It's just beautiful paper. Everybody gets an envelope, a piece of vellum, several pieces of craft paper, and this is a really good craft paper. This is real heavy duty, so you can do a lot with this. A piece of Tim Holtz glassine. This is really fun to work with, especially if you crumple it all up. It looks beautiful. The kit will include at least 10 pieces of patterned paper. And all of the patterned paper won't look like this. Everybody will be getting something different. It's kind of a grab bag, but it does all have a vintage look to it, a vintage feel to it. Love that one. And of course, tea-stained papers. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these in there that I tea-stained myself. A piece of handmade paper with leaves on it. Miscellaneous pattern paper, a children's book piece of paper. This came from a book called Rupert, and I loved it because it has the old cartoons on it. It's double-sided. These are dictionary pages. They're so fragile and old, I actually couldn't find a date on the dictionary. But it's very fragile. You may even want to just kind of tear it up and Mod Podge it down. But right now it's holding together okay. A couple of stamp pages. Stamps always look beautiful in a journal. Now this is the exciting part. What I did for the cover is we will be using Tyvek. Now a lot of you, I'm sure, are already familiar with Tyvek, but just in case you're not, Tyvek is a wonderful product. It's a cross between paper and fabric. Anything that you can do to paper, you can do to this. Anything that you can do with fabric, you can do to this. So you can sew it, you can paint it, you can Mod Podge it, you can stamp on it. The possibilities are endless. That's why I love it. This particular piece, I took it and I put it in my washing machine with my clothes, and then when the wash was done, I took it out and crumpled it up in a ball and put it in the dryer. You're going to be getting a clean piece because you may not want this look, but this is the particular look I want for, this is my kit. I'm going to make a journal for you all out of this kit. This piece is big enough to be able to fit all of those 5.5 by 8.5 pages in it with a 1/2 inch border all the way around, and also an extra flap in case you want to fold it over like this. Probably what I'm going to do is sew around the whole thing, sew around here, and probably sew a button on here, and then I bought a really cool vintage stencil that I'm probably going to stencil the front of this with. I'm going to show, once I figure out what I'm going to do with my cover, I'm going to show you how I did it, and I'll do a tutorial video on that. But if you don't want your book this size, the 5.5 by 8.5, you can just put this in your trimmer and cut it too. So just an example of what you can do with this. I was just playing around a little earlier, and I don't really like what I did with the gold on here, but I was just experimenting. So I sewed a border on it, and then I was just taking my Tim Holtz Distress Stain, this is Gathered Twigs, and just kind of messing with it. And eventually you can get this to look like leather. It's a really neat product, and I think it'll make a beautiful and original cover for your junk journal. So that's the Tyvek, and that's packet one. Let's open up the embellishments. As soon as I get all this other stuff out of my way here. Again, everybody's going to be getting the same items, but they may look a little different, okay? Excuse me. Everybody will get a button card. The buttons I put on with a little pop dot, one of the gel ones, so you can pull the buttons off of here. If you just want to use the buttons and you don't want to use the whole button card, you can pull the buttons off without doing too much damage to the button card. Everybody will get some kind of a sentiment on craft paper. This says, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Some kind of positive sentiment. Okay, here's something I want to see what you all do with this. A tongue depressor. But it's wood. It's real wood, and I think this will be fun to work with. I have a couple of ideas for this, but I want to see what creative things you do with this tongue depressor. Piece of gauze. It's kind of a goldish, very opaque ticket. Some little glassine envelopes. And this just fell. Hold on. Then this little stuff here is from the Tim Holtz die Tiny Tags and Tabs. So that's exactly what it is. You're going to get a bunch of, there's a little tag here, and then you're going to get a bunch of these little tabs. You know that you fold them in half, and then you can put them on the edges of your papers. Little teeny weeny tags. It even comes with a little reinforcement that you can put on the top of your tag. Okay, so you'll get a bunch of those in some kind of vintage patterned paper. Some beautiful vintage trim. a little gold embellishment. This may be different for everybody. I have, oh, let's see. I don't have all, not everybody will be getting a wine leaf. Couldn't think of the word there. Some people will be getting little moons. I have some things that look like coins, so you'll get some kind of little goodie in there. And then some cutouts from Tim Holtz paper, some antique photographs. Here's an old clock. Everybody will be getting a clock face, I should say, and a bingo card. 3 playing cards. And then this is also a die cut that I did for you. It folds. I'm going to let you have fun with that. It's creased for you. You just have to fold it and apply tape, but it makes, sorry for my reaching there, it makes a little envelope like this that you can put a tag in or anything that you want to put in there. It folds up to look like that. And everybody gets one of those. Here's a score sheet. And then last but not least, a vintage advertisement. This is again from that 106-year-old farming magazine. Some kind of vintage ad you will get. So, that's the kit. It will be available soon. Keep your eye out on the Scrapologist on Etsy. Comment down below if you have any questions. You can jump over to Facebook if you have questions. I'm on there too. And I hope to hear from you. See you soon.